Hello and welcome to ever happen to stumble upon this video or come back to my channel. Hi, my name is Dana and welcome to my 2021 bullet journal plan with me. So I cannot believe that we are already setting up for 2021. It feels like 2020 just started. However, like everybody else, I'm sure, I'm very happy that it's coming to an end. 2020 was actually the first year that I bullet journaled through the entire year. I did it sporadically in 2019, but 2020 was the first year I totally committed to it. I have half of my flip through from January to June up already because I switched journals in the middle of the year. So I will be posting my July to December flip through if you guys are interested in seeing that. So usually for people's yearly setups and what I've done in the past is people tend to stick to a bit of a neutral color palette for the beginning of the year for their intro pages, but I decided with the year that we have had in 2020, I wanted to welcome in 2021 with a really fun and groovy, colorful theme. So I went with this like fun, groovy, kind of 70s-ish font, and I used 3 colors all from my Tombow dual brush pen retro pack. The green is color 126, the peach is 873, and the pink color is 817. For my cover page, I just wanted to write in 2021 and my big blocky groovy letters, and I decided to do them in white with just a thicker black drop shadow because I'm adding these big strips of color behind them. So for the journal I'm using the same journal I've been using in 2020. It is an Archer and Olive A5 journal, and I definitely felt the temptation to buy a new journal for the new year, but I'm really only a little less than halfway through this journal, so I did not want to be wasteful, but I'm probably going to have to use 2 journals for 2021 like I did with 2020. I've been using this journal for about 6 months now and I really like it. You really don't get any bleed through with the colors. As you can see right now, for the color stripes I did, I had to go over them like 2 or 3 times to get them a little less streaky, and nothing bled through on the other side. So for my quote page, I decided to write "good things are on the horizon" because, you know, it's a new year, new beginnings, and I think with the year 2020 has been, everybody is hoping that 2021 is going to be a good year, so I want to start it off super optimistic. And also for me, 2021, there are going to be some new things on the horizon. I'm going to be graduating college, starting a new job, and probably moving out. So a lot of exciting things are on the horizon for 2021. For the letters on this page, and also when I outlined my 2021 on my cover page, I'm using a Pigma Micron in the size 03. For the horizon, this time I did decide to color in my letters, so I outlined them first and then went through in an alternating color pattern to color them in with my 3 colors. Also, what you'll see when you see me adding the different colors is around the spread I did some different squiggles and like half circles and stuff that I'm going to use to be decorating my pages and little empty spaces throughout the spread.
Is that more?
So those are my first 2 pages finished. So for my next 2 spreads, I have my year at a glance and my future log spreads, and I decided to do these a little bit differently than I had done in 2020. So I made 1 page that's just dedicated to all of the 12 calendars for the year, and typically I'll do the calendar with some space either under it or next to it to write all my events for that month, but I decided to kind of split it up differently. So I have 2 spreads, one that has just the calendars and one that's going to have space to write, because I never really know how much space I want to leave for each month, and I think this is the best way to kind of condense them into 2 spreads. So for my months, I wrote them all out kind of using that same groovy font that I used on my cover and quote page, but what I decided to do, so since the dual brush pens have two sides, I used the non-brush pen side, so it's kind of like a little nib, just to outline the names of the months instead of coloring them in, because since everything's so condensed, I didn't want it to be too busy. And then, of course, everybody's least favorite part of making a year at a glance or a future log, I had to go and write in every day for every month, and I did that starting my weeks on Mondays like I usually do, using an 01 sized micron. Then moving on to my future log, what I did for this one was I split up just some space for each month, just writing the first letter of the month to kind of leave whatever space I need to write in events that I'm going to mark off on my year at a glance spread. So on the top right corner of the spread, I drew in a little key, and I did that kind of in the style that people do where you make it look like it's a little note attached with a little binder clip. And what I did for my key was I used 5 different colors to signify 5 different types of things I'm going to be putting on my log. So I did a color for birthdays, for work, so I know in advance what weekends I'm working, special events, travel, which hopefully we will be able to do in 2021, and any sort of appointments that I have. So I did a little demo for you guys to show you how I'm going to use this. So I used my birthday color to mark off May 13th and then went over and wrote May 13th as my 22nd birthday. And here are those 2 spreads finished. So for my next spread, I'm doing a grid spacing spread. I've seen this going around a bunch of times when I've been watching 2021 setups, but I think the first place I ever saw it was Amanda Rach Lee, so credit to her on this spread. It is a great idea. I know for me, every time I do a setup, whether it's weekly or monthly or anything like that, I always sit there and count every single dot spacing and then do the math. So I decided this year it was time for me to do a grid spacing cheat sheet. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's just kind of where you mark in what half the page is, so how many boxes you have to count for it to be half, a third, a fourth, or whatever things you commonly use. So I flipped through some of my old spreads and kind of looked at how I commonly split them up and added those in on my grid spacing cheat sheet. And for this, I just used some Bic pens in different colors to mark off my different lines. And one thing you want to keep in mind if you decide to do this spread is you want to make sure you do it on a left page, so when you're flipping back anytime you're making spreads, you'll be able to see it. And then I just used a white gel pen to touch up any mistakes. And as you see, I just did some squiggly doodles in the empty space. So the next spread that I did, which is one I did in my 2020 setup, is my places that I went spread. And you'll see this in my flip through because I redrew it when I did my new setup. And I thought this was a really fun spread, even though in 2020 I really didn't go that many places. I kind of started adding the little things I would do, so little hikes that I went on, if I went over a friend's house who I hadn't seen in a while, go to a wedding, anything like that. It's really fun to flip back on and see the different places, even if they're just small places, little walks you went on with people. It's fun to write that in and flip back on. So I just did places that I went, and then I split it into 3 sections: where, when, and with who. And just to switch it up for the spread, I decided to outline the letters like I did on my year at a glance instead of filling them in, just to kind of have some variety. And here are those 2 spreads finished. My next spread is a year in pixels page, and if you guys haven't seen this before, it's super fun. You make a big chart that has room for one box for each day of the year, and then you make a little color code and you color code it based on your mood. So it's basically like one giant mood tracker. And again, this was one that I did in my 2020 setup that I transferred over into my new bullet journal. So if you watch my flip through from July to December, when that goes up, you will see what this looks like finished, and I'm telling you, it looks super cool. Then I drew another key like I did on an earlier spread that looks like the little note with the binder clip on it, and I marked off 7 different moods. So for me, I did amazing, happy, content, exhausted, frustrated, sad, and stressed, but you can switch that up to do any moods or anything like that that you want to track for the year. I also went in down the left side and wrote in all the numbers for every day, and on the top I just wrote the first letter of every month. For your key, you want to make sure that the colors you pick are pretty different from each other, because when they're colored in the small boxes, they can look similar if you're using similar colors. So I picked ones between my Crayola Super Tips and my Tombow dual brush pens to try and pick a wide variety of colors, and you can do ones that you think represent the mood. So for like amazing, I did a bright yellow. For sad, I did a dark blue. So whatever you want to do to the colors that you think best represents that mood, but I do recommend picking ones that are different in shade. So for the past couple of months, I've been adding a small YouTube tracker either in my monthly setup or recently on my monthly calendar page, but I decided it'd be really fun to have them all on one page, because usually at the beginning of every month I'll be writing in my stuff and then I'll start flipping back to previous months to see how my growth has changed. So I thought it'd be fun to put it all on one page, so that's what this spread is going to be, my YouTube growth tracker. So this is going to be a pretty easy one to set up. I just did 4 columns, my subscriber count, my views, my watch time, and my monetization. So I'm actually not monetized yet, but based on my calculations and how my channel's been growing, I should be right at the end of this year or in the beginning of next year. So that's super exciting, and I'm really excited. Thank you to you guys, because I wouldn't be able to do that without you watching my videos and subscribing to my channel. Also, while you're watching this, I just realized that I kind of messed this up a little bit, because I did write the names in the month in the subscriber area, so I'll either just write it over it or just write it kind of small. So that's okay, we all make mistakes, but that is what my spread looks like. Alright, so my last spread of my setup is going to be my 2021 in Polaroids. So I've seen a couple of other bullet journalers do this, but I believe the first person I saw do it again was Amanda Rach Lee. So credits to her again. You guys should check out her setup. She is super talented. So for this spread, I just did it as a 2-page spread, only going up to August, because I'm pretty sure by that point I will be switching bullet journals or will already have. So when I made this spread, I just traced around a Polaroid picture that I have, but I counted it out and it's about 12 by 18 if you're looking to do that. And also anybody can do this spread. You don't have to have a Polaroid camera. You can print out pictures every month, or I know they have those tiny printers that you can connect to your phone that print pictures that are about the size of Polaroids, or you can just add in a little drawing every month or write a memory of something that you and your friends did. I think that'd be a really cool take on this spread. If you don't want to print out pictures, you can do 2020 in memories, leave a spot for each month, and write your favorite memory or your favorite hangout or favorite thing you did that month. So as you guys have been seeing, I've just been taking my Tombos to write in the name of each of the months on the boxes. Obviously this will be covered, but it's just so I know where I'm going to put each one, and while I'm filling up the spread, you can see what the other boxes will be used for. And then I'm going to go in again with my same colors and outline each of the boxes and kind of draw in some of my same squiggles and circles and things like that I've been using to fill up space throughout my whole setup. As the year is wrapping up, I'm going to be posting my January plan with me. Also, like I've been talking about, my July through December flip through. I'll be linking my January through June one if you want to check that out. Here is my final flip through of my setup. I hope you guys like it. Comment down below what theme you did for 2021 and also what themes you guys are planning on doing for January. Let me know if there are any other bullet journal videos you want to see from me in the new year. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you are not already, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.